Hey y'all, it's Charisma and welcome back to my channel, Traveling with Charisma and Cam. So, if you're new to the channel, here I teach you how to travel with or without your kids. I have a son that has a disability. We travel on a budget and we have fun. That's just what we do. We talk about real estate, we talk about schooling, we talk about travel, we talk about everyday life. So today I want to talk about world schooling. And so as a world schooler slash homeschooler, when you come back, well, when you're out and you're traveling and you're doing your thing, you're living life, but sometimes you come back to your country of origin, whether to visit, to get some things in place, whatever the rationale will be, and things just are a little different when you come back. For me, I come back to America and I'm in Georgia and life is just a bit different. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So, I just kind of like to bring light on those things that I don't think we really talk about. I don't want to say they're the bad things, but I feel like they're just they're part of life. They're part of everyday living. It's just that it's not as glamorous. So, people don't really want to discuss it or whatever. So what I kind of wanted to discuss today was, we were out and about, we were doing the world schooling thing, we were trying to find community, find people that we could relate to, that we could talk to, that my son would, like playing with, people that I'd like to go out with and do things. And it was different than what I was used to in America. You kind of get into your little clique and you do your thing and you go from there. But when you are out and about, it's a little different how you find your tribe. If you find your tribe, some places you go, there is, I don't know if it's any people to be a tribe. I don't know where people are at, to be quite honest with you. But it's different when you come back. See, because when you come back, you're coming back to your family and your friends and your kids' friends. But, it's a little bit different because people are a little, they're doing their own thing. And right now, I think that you throw a little monkey wrench into it because a lot of people are finally coming out of COVID. Even the people that were scared to death to leave their house, they're now coming out of COVID. They're coming out, they're not wearing masks, and we're slowly but surely seeing return to normal life. I mean, at this point, you may see a couple of people that have on a mask, but for, the vast majority, masks are a thing of the past, unless you're at the doctor's office where they still, require you to wear a mask. So, we're back and I'm kind of like, what do I do with my son, right? Because in Georgia, in the South, school starts in August. So, there's not as many camps. When we first got back, he was going to this camp, going to that camp, hanging out with different kids. But when school started back, it was back to like homeschool life, right? So there weren't really very many camps. I'm working during the week. I do have a sitter when I'm here in the States that works with him. But, they really don't have the activities to do, right? So a lot of times they'll do the library activities there. There may, we can always do like, the little restaurants. There's the aquarium, I'm in Atlanta. There's the World of Coca-Cola. There's those different things, right? But nobody's typically going to the High Museum in the World of Coca-Cola on a regular basis. They do have homeschool days, but honestly, I don't live in Atlanta. Most people don't in Atlanta that say they're in Atlanta don't live in Atlanta. So there's still a good, little drive to get to these places. And all of these places are going to be quite expensive over time. So you're like, what do you do? And then the thing is, my son is with his sitter, right? He's not with another kid. He's with an adult. So when he wants to play, there's playtime, but it's a little different when it is adult playtime and when it's kid playtime, right? So those are things that you really have to think about when you're kind of coming back to this, because I really wasn't a homeschooler, y'all. Like, I mean, I homeschooled, but I wasn't a homeschooler. I tell people, if it wasn't for COVID, I may have never homeschooled. Like, you know, I knew when my oldest daughter graduated, I wanted to travel. And the only thing that was holding me back was how would my son be educated. So, you know, with COVID, you know, he went to at home learning. And then I didn't like the way the school system was doing it. So he went to a virtual charter school. We did that for a year. We went into the year was a mess. They didn't have teachers. Y'all, they didn't have teachers. We had all these different substitutes. They would come in and they wouldn't know what to teach. They'd be teaching something totally different, something over their heads, nothing that continued with the lesson they were doing before. I mean, it was really and these were his language arts and math classes that we basically skipped like for a whole year. There were times we didn't have a teacher. So this is what we experienced. Well, then I said, you know, okay, let's do it another year. You know, it was a teacher problem. You know, maybe it'll be better. I wasn't comfortable putting him back in the school system. I did not vaccinate my kid. He has a rare genetic disorder, and I just feel like there's just not enough known about it. When he got COVID, it just caused some issues, unlike what they told us COVID would cause. And I just didn't really want to take the chance. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. However, I am pro-education. And I guess in a sense, I'm like a pro-choice person. It's your choice to do whatever the hell you choose to do with the proper education. And nobody seems to have the proper education on this vaccine for my kids. So lack of education is enough education for me to say no. So that's my spiel with that. So for that reason, I decided to forgo the COVID vaccine. I got mine, but I didn't get it for him. So I wasn't ready to send him back to school last school year. Sent him to the charter school, the virtual charter school again. And if you all aren't familiar with a charter school, I always tell people, I guess this isn't the specific term, but for a charter school, I always tell people, think between a private school and a public school, right? So the charter school kind of has a smaller class sizes. They typically have more programs, and they have, now programs, I mean like extracurricular things, or even what you would consider extracurricular in the school system. They may teach more languages. They may focus more on science type careers. You know, a lot of times they do uniforms. You know, everybody doesn't get in. It may be a lottery system or some system that you get into the school, right? But you don't have to pay. So you don't have that private umbrella where you have to pay, but you also still have to follow some of the rules of the public school system. So I hope that cleared that up a little bit for you as far as the charter school. Well, this is the charter school, but it's virtual. And this charter school, you know, we got back into it. It's like 8 to 2:30, 8 to 3 o'clock. They were pretty much in classes the whole time. They'd have 30-minute breaks here and there. But my son, he had all his regular classes. He had his therapies, and he still had his Spanish. Even though he didn't have to take Spanish, my son absolutely loved Spanish even before we left the country. So it was very important to me that he took Spanish. So basically, he was in class all day. The kids were tired. They would get to the end of the day. You have the teacher that was teaching, and basically these kids were tired. Nobody was paying attention. The teacher was just talking. She could care less. I mean, it appeared as if she could care less whether they listened or not, whether they were asleep or not. No matter what was really happening, she was still talking. She was still teaching. And, you know, as I sat there with my son and found myself falling asleep on the class, right along with him, I realized that this was not a good fit. When the parent can't stay awake the entire school day, I think it's very, very unlikely that the child will stay awake the entire school day. And I have this thing where I can't require something of you that I, as a person that is almost quadruple your age, can't do myself, right? So if I can't make it through the school day, how the hell do I expect you to make it through the school day? So I decided to withdraw my child. I felt like they were just teaching. They could care less if the kids picked it up. Don't forget, I said that the year prior, math and language arts, they had no teacher. However, the new teacher wanted to come in and teach these kids on the what grade was that? The 4th grade level. Yet they hadn't even learned the 3rd grade stuff, not to mention the 2nd grade stuff that they didn't learn because they only was in school for half the school year, right? So I just was like, so who's gonna fill in the gaps here? Like, because if nobody's filling in the gaps, how is my child supposed to learn? So I decided just to take him out. I said, I can't do any worse. I mean, I have a bachelor's and a master's degree. Like, I should be able to do like 4th grade work, I would think. I would think I could. Hell, and even if I don't remember it, I should at least be able to read it and remember it and teach him, right? And if all else fails, I mean, it's a school system. Y'all actually have to take us back. Like, y'all don't really have a choice. If I decide I want to homeschool on Friday and next Friday I decide I don't want to homeschool anymore and I want to send my kid back to school, you kind of don't have a choice but to take him back, right? So I feel like, you know, what do I have to lose? You know, now I'll homeschool him and we'll travel the world. And that's what we did. I homeschooled him. We traveled the world. I set up my schedule so that I would work with him in the morning. And then around 11 o'clock, I start working. I would give him lunch. And then I would continue my day, right? And that worked for us. He had activities in the afternoon, and then we would do work in the morning. However, we came back here. School started back for the other kids, and there were no longer any more kids. And I'm like, well, what happened to the homeschool kids, right? Well, they put their kids in co-ops. So they go into these co-ops maybe 2-3 times a week. Basically, they pay people to keep their kids for a few hours to teach them, which to me, I was like, doesn't that go against homeschooling? But I don't know, maybe they teach them differently. I don't really know what they do. There are some co-ops where they don't do teaching. They may focus on gardening or zoology or, you know, the aquamarine type of stuff, you know, so it can be very specialized. And last year we did actually do one. I didn't realize it was a co-op, but we did one where he would go once a week and he would see the kids, and you know, he was still getting used to being around kids, so he was really quiet there. However, she said he was one of the most well-behaved children they actually had. So we, you know, but the thing is, we're leaving again, right? So it doesn't really make sense for us to do a co-op for a year or for half a year. We kind of need something that we can do monthly or just weekly or drop in. So that didn't really work for us. And the person that was doing the weekly class, they were no longer doing it. They started doing something else that's 3 to 4 days out of the month. But I don't know, they were acting a little iffy, right? So, okay, so I'm back. We got to pick up where I was. I had to take a break. See you, Cam. So, but this year they don't have that co-op, and I'm having a hard time finding things. So it's like you have to try to reacclimate back into the world that you left for so long. Like, and it's a little harder because not only are you dealing with reacclimating from being world school to now being homeschool, you're also reacclimating into your community from COVID. So whereas people have been reacclimating all year long, here I am in October. What month is it? September, and I'm just now starting to reacclimate. So you know, you're just feeling a little, I guess, a little off. I think that's what it would be, a little off, because I kind of don't know where we belong. I know we won't be here long, so it's not like we're going to make these deep connections. However, we are here. And what does he do while he is here? So we have been doing the library. He'll go to the library and they have different activities there. But you also have to remember my son has special needs, right? So even though he's 10, almost 11, he isn't necessarily doing what most 10-year-olds will do. Now, as far as education, he's pretty intelligent, so you know he does some of those things well. He has his pluses and his minuses, you know, like all kids. And then, you know, like special needs kids, they just have things they really excel in and things that they don't. But I guess if I think about it, that's your average child with things that they do extremely well in and things that they don't. So, you know, I don't know, just kind of acclimate into that. So, you know, the other day, I said, because we'll do things on the weekend, you know, me and him, but I'm trying to get him where he could be around some kids because he's so shy. And lately it's kind of like we go somewhere, he's like, I don't like people. I don't like a lot of people. And I'm like, I mean, Cam, it's always going to be people around. Like, you know, some days I don't like a lot of people either. But, you know, we still have to be in areas where there's people. So I'm like, well, you know, let's start to reacclimate to being around people. Not that we weren't around people before, but it always seems to be large crowds of people. You know, when we went to Monster Jam, we went to baseball, we'll go to festivals. And it's, you know, it's just, I don't like people, but, you know, then he gets there and he's fine, right? So we ended up going, I said, let's go to baseball. He's not a fan of baseball, so I didn't do baseball earlier this year when we first got back. But I said, let's go to baseball. Not really because of baseball. He actually really likes soccer because he played that in Dominican Republic. But more so for socialization. And, you know, I kind of felt a little, well, first we were supposed to go to dance, but y'all, we got there when the dance class was over, so obviously we weren't on time. And even when I got to the dance class, I kind of felt a little funny, like I didn't belong here anymore. Like I really didn't have anything to talk to the moms about. I mean, I guess I could talk to them about travel, but you know, that's a little different. And sometimes you kind of get tired of talking about the travel thing over and over. So I really didn't have much to talk about. Like we didn't really relate anymore. I felt like some of the moms I relate to because I still chat with, but you know, I felt like, I don't know if we really relate anymore. So I kind of felt out of place the same way my son felt out of place. But instead of him saying, I feel a little out of place, it was just, I don't like people. So, you know, we actually left on a break, and then came back for baseball. And what I found was that most of these people had not seen each other since COVID. So even though we had left and we had started traveling, and I thought, you know, oh, everybody's going to be all cliquish and everything, most of these people hadn't seen each other. Like they did have a baseball season earlier, but it was short, and I guess there weren't a lot of people that were involved because people were still coming out of COVID during the spring season. But here we are now, and you know, they're like, oh, he got so big, she got so big, oh, this is that. So, you know, whereas I had put in my mind that I didn't know if I still belonged, what I found was that we still fit in just fine. Cam's friends came up to him and they started laughing and playing, and you know, it went from I don't want to be around people to he was just having a ball. When is he going to see his friend again? When are they going to do this again? So, you know, I really enjoyed that. But the thing is, we'll be here for baseball this week, but next week we're leaving. We're going to our next step, our next destination. Y'all know I'm always going somewhere. We got tickets from the Kids Wish Network, and we're going to go to Universal and Legoland, and I'm actually going to pay and do Peppa Pig Land as well. So we're going to do a week in Orlando. So we'll be leaving to go there. Then we'll be leaving to go to New York, and shortly we'll be leaving to go to Mexico. So it's kind of like we kind of established some things, but now we're off again. We're going to come back for the holidays, though. Hopefully, they'll have some holiday events so he can meet up with some of his friends at those. And these are people that he's grown up with since he was a little kid, you know, in kindergarten, first, second grade. So he knows these kids very well. And I think it just kind of, well, actually, it's one in particular. And I think it just kind of feels like home for him when he comes. So that's really exciting for him. And I think it'll be a great thing. But, you know, I just want to encourage you that even when you do come back to your home country, don't feel like you won't integrate. Don't feel like you don't have things to talk about or things to do. Because, you know, I ended up sitting there with the moms and we just talked. We talked about homeschool. We talked about regular school. And sometimes there was just silence, but it was fine. You were laughing, you were joking, you were watching the kids. The same things that brought you together before bring you together again. So although integrating into America, reverse culture shock, all of it can be difficult. It can be quite doable and enjoyable. Again, we leave out and I will miss everybody. I am scared again. I have all of these emotions that go on again, and it's normal and this is how it happens. But I also look forward to the journey that's in front of me. I look forward to what there is to come. I look forward to things in the future. And, you know, all else fails, America has to take me back. So there we have it. All right, y'all. So that's all I got for you today. Big announcement. I am doing the Exodus Summit, making money from a real estate perspective. That's what I'm talking about. I'll be talking about investing in real estate without being a landlord, along with 20 plus other Black women that will be talking about how they make money virtually without going into a building. So y'all, you know, I'm always for making money. So even though I invest in real estate, I may be checking out a few of those other speakers about how to build my website and build my brand. You know, that's what we do. We make our money and we do it the non-traditional way. So I will post the link to get your tickets for the Exodus Summit. They're not expensive at all. So I definitely recommend that. And I'll also post a link for my new website, charisma-cares.com, where I talk about, that's where you can go if you want to do coaching. You know, I do coaching for single parents. I do single women, single parents that are women. I do coaching for women that want to travel, and also do coaching for special needs and disabilities, as well as, of course, you know, real estate. So tell me what you think about this. Do you do the homeschooling or world schooling? Is that your thing? Or are you all still doing like a virtual school or academy? I know Florida has a great, people speak so highly about the virtual school in Florida. Y'all, I may mess around and buy me a house in Florida and Airbnb it out so we can go to the virtual school. No, seriously, I feel like if I do settle back in America, it will probably be in Florida. I need to be near the water, and I've heard that the special needs education system out there is amazing. So I don't know. Do you live in Florida? Do you know? Let me know. All right, y'all, make sure you like and subscribe. Feel free to share this video. Check out the Exodus Summit. Check out the website, charisma-cares.com. And ciao. Until next time.